pale blue blouse she had carefully chosen for her first teaching job, hung torn from her shoulders, ripped open by the sneering group of bullies who now mocked her. They had cornered her just minutes before her morning class. Amelia felt a sharp sting of humiliation, her cheeks burning, as dozens of eyes stared, some in shock, others in silent approval of the bullies' twisted show. She had dreamed of this job since college, of inspiring young minds, of being the teacher she never had. Yet here she was, reduced to a cruel joke on her second week at the prestigious Crestwood High. The ringleader, a tall, arrogant boy named Jason, grinned as he shrugged. "You're too soft for this place, Miss Ross. Maybe you should quit before we make it worse." That line echoed in Amelia's head as she fled to the staff room, clutching the remnants of her blouse. She sat trembling in the restroom, tears threatening to fall. But something deep inside refused to break. She wasn't going to be chased out of her dream job by a pack of spoiled bullies. Amelia took a deep breath, wiped her eyes, and returned to class in her blazer zipped up tight. She pushed through the snickers, the whispers, and taught her lesson with calm strength. But inside, her heart burned, not with shame, but with determination. What Jason and his gang didn't know was that Amelia wasn't just a young teacher struggling to make ends meet. She was also the CEO's daughter and acting HR director of Crestwood Enterprises, a multi-million-dollar conglomerate that owned half the city's businesses, including the companies where many of these students' parents worked. Her teaching job was her passion, but business was her bloodline. That night, Amelia went home, her mind racing. She couldn't let this slide. But she also didn't want revenge for the sake of it. She wanted a lesson taught, a real one that would last. The next morning, Amelia walked into Crestwood Enterprises headquarters in her sharpest business attire. With her father away on a business trip, she called an emergency HR review for disciplinary action against 5 employees, all parents of the boys who had harassed her. Sitting at the long mahogany boardroom table, Amelia faced the 5 high-ranking staff members, managers, consultants, and executives. She laid out clear evidence, school reports, security footage, complaints from other teachers. With calm authority, she spoke of workplace ethics, family values, and corporate responsibility. Then she gave them 2 choices: take immediate responsibility for their children's behavior by resigning honorably, or face termination for conduct unbecoming representatives of Crestwood Enterprises. The room fell silent. Some protested, some pleaded, but Amelia stood firm. Within hours, their resignations were signed. It wasn't just about the bullying. It was about the toxic entitlement their children had inherited from them. The fallout was immediate. News spread fast in the school. Jason and his gang, once untouchable, were called into the principal's office. Expulsions were on the table. Parents showed up, humbled and furious, not at Amelia, but at their own sons. For the first time, the boys faced real consequences. But Amelia wasn't done. She requested a school-wide assembly. Standing on the stage, she spoke openly, not about the incident, but about respect, kindness, and the power of standing up against cruelty. She shared her story, not as a victim, but as someone who refused to let others decide her worth. The auditorium hung on her every word. Students who had once snickered now sat in solemn silence. Even the staff, some of whom had looked the other way before, applauded her courage. From that day on, Amelia became more than just a teacher. She became a mentor, a role model, and a symbol of strength for every student who ever felt powerless. Jason and his friends faced their punishment, but more importantly, they faced a community that no longer tolerated their behavior. Slowly, they began to change, not out of fear, but because Amelia made them see what real strength looked like. In time, Amelia's story spread beyond the school. Parents and teachers across the city started talking about her. She was invited to speak at educational conferences, and even offered a leadership role in youth development programs. But Amelia remained in her classroom, teaching, guiding, changing lives, one student at a time. And though she never sought applause, she often smiled to herself, knowing that she turned her worst humiliation into her greatest triumph. Her message echoed far beyond the school walls, that no bully, no matter how powerful, can tear apart someone who stands firm in their worth. By the end of the year, Crestwood High was a different place. And Amelia Ross, once a shy young teacher with a torn blouse, became the woman who taught an entire community what real power looks like.